Have you ever witnessed a moment so powerful it made you question everything you thought you knew about love? What if I told you that sometimes the deepest connections we share can literally pull someone back from the edge of death? Stick around, because what happened in that examination room will change the way you see the bond between humans and their pets forever. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. The veterinarian could barely get them out, his voice cracking under the weight of what he had to say. Emma stood frozen in place, her entire body going numb. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All she could do was stare at the small, fragile creature lying on the cold metal table in front of her. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not now. Not like this. The little German Shepherd puppy barely moved, his chest rising and falling in shallow, painful breaths. His tiny paws twitched involuntarily, and his dark, expressive eyes fought to stay open, searching desperately for the one person who mattered most to him. His name was Rex. And he wasn't just a puppy. He was everything. He was the reason Emma got out of bed every morning. He was the warmth in a house that had grown unbearably cold. He was the heartbeat that kept her going after her husband had been taken from her in an instant. 6 months earlier, in a senseless car accident that shattered her entire world, the doctor placed his hand gently on her shoulder, his eyes filled with sympathy. "You should take a moment with him. Say what you need to say. I'll step outside and give you some privacy." Then he quietly left the room, closing the door behind him with a soft click that felt far too final. Now, I want to pause here for a second. Before we go any further into this incredible story, do me a favor. If this is already hitting you in the chest, go ahead and drop a like or share this with someone who needs to hear it. And I'm genuinely curious, where in the world are you right now? Drop your country or city in the comments. I love knowing that stories like this can reach people everywhere, no matter where they are. Alright, let's get back to Emma and Rex. The silence in that room was suffocating. Every second felt like an eternity. The ticking of the wall clock echoed like a drumbeat, each tick a reminder that time was running out. Emma's hands shook as she carefully lifted the tiny puppy into her arms, cradling him against her chest as if holding him tighter could somehow keep him from slipping away. "You didn't deserve this, sweetheart," she whispered through her tears. "You were supposed to grow up big and strong. You were supposed to be the one who protected me. You were supposed to stay." Her voice broke. The tears came faster now, streaming down her face and landing softly on his fur. She pressed her cheek against the top of his head, feeling the faint warmth of his small body against hers. She didn't want to let go. She couldn't. And then something unbelievable happened. Rex, who moments before could barely lift his head, suddenly stirred. Slowly, with what seemed like every ounce of strength left in his fragile little body, he raised his head and gently pressed it against the curve of her neck. His tiny paw, trembling and weak, reached up and rested against her shoulder. And then he did something that no one could have predicted. Euchid. Here. Not a random movement. Not a reflex. A real, genuine, heartbreaking hug. The kind you give when you're terrified of losing someone. The kind that says, "I'm still here," without using any words at all. Emma gasped. Her tears fell harder, soaking into his soft puppy fur. She could feel his heartbeat against her chest. Faint, but still there. Still fighting. "It's okay, baby," she whispered, her voice shaking. "You can rest now? I'll be okay. You don't have to fight anymore. But just..." Then the door opened. The veterinarian stepped back inside, clipboard in hand, ready to help her through the final goodbye. But the moment he looked at the monitor, he froze. His eyes went wide. His expression shifted from sadness to confusion, then to something that looked almost like disbelief. "Hold on," he muttered under his breath. "That's not possible." Emma looked up, her face streaked with tears. What's happening?" He grabbed his stethoscope and quickly pressed it against Rex's chest. He listened, frowned, listened again. Then he looked at Emma with an expression she couldn't quite read. His heartbeat. It's stronger. A few minutes ago it was fading fast, but now it's steady. It's actually getting stronger. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She stared at the vet, then down at the puppy in her arms. Rex's eyes were still half closed, but now they seemed just a little more alert. His breathing, though still shallow, was more even, more alive. The vet moved quickly, checking the oxygen levels on the monitor. Look at this. His oxygen saturation's climbing. I don't understand. He was crashing. We were losing him, but now he's rallying. He's fighting back. Emma pulled Rex closer, her heart pounding. Do you hear that, baby? You're still here. You're still with me. Don't you dare give up on me now. Time seemed to blur after that. The vet worked frantically, adjusting 4 lines, running new tests, recalibrating equipment. But through it all, Emma never let go of Rex. She held him close, whispering to him, stroking his fur, letting him know with every touch that she wasn't going anywhere. And slowly, impossibly, Rex began to respond. His tail gave a tiny twitch. Thin. Another. At one point he even lifted his head just enough to lick the tears from her cheek. It was weak, clumsy, but it was there. A sign. A promise. By the time evening arrived, the vet came back into the room with a look on his face that Emma had never expected to see. He's stable, he said quietly, almost as if he didn't believe his own words. I honestly don't know how. By every medical standard, we should have lost him. But he's stable. He's holding on. Emma's voice was barely a whisper. You told me there was nothing more we could do. The vet nodded slowly, his eyes glistening. I was wrong. What you gave him, what you did just by being here, that's something no medicine can replicate. You gave him a reason to stay. Over the next week, Rex did something no one thought possible. It got better day by day. Step by step, he grew stronger. His energy returned. His eyes brightened. His tail wagged with the enthusiasm of a puppy who had been given a second chance at life. The vet called it a miracle response, a rare phenomenon where the emotional and psychological bond between an animal and their human can trigger a physiological shift, a survival instinct so powerful it defies logic. But Emma didn't need a scientific explanation. She knew what had happened. It wasn't a mystery. It was love. Pure, unshakable, unconditional love. From that day forward, every single morning, Emma woke up to find Rex sitting beside her bed, his tail wagging, his eyes full of life. And every time she reached down to pet him, she remembered that moment in the vet's office, the moment when a dying puppy refused to let go, the moment when love became more powerful than death itself. Because here's the truth. Love isn't just something we feel, it's something we do. It's a force, a choice, a reason to keep going even when everything inside you wants to quit. And sometimes, just sometimes, that love is strong enough to pull someone back from the brink. If this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, tome a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and let me know what you thought. And if you want more incredible, heartwarming, true stories like this one, make sure you're subscribed and following, because trust me, we've got so many more coming your way. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.